Hello, I'm Dr. Matt Williams. I'm a tutor of politics and the Access Fellow here at Jesus College, Oxford, and I'm here with...
Sharon, I'm a student here.
What are you studying?
Economics and Management.
Very nice. And we are going to look at some examples of Oxford in films and react to them and see whether or not they are in any way accurate. So, starting with Saltburn, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think everyone's going to have heard of Saltburn. Maybe not for the scenes we're about to show, but yeah, I think it gives... I mean, at least the first half is all set in Oxford. I think. So there were some pretty fun depictions of Oxford. But the first time I watched it, I hadn't been to Oxford yet. I wasn't studying.
Oh, really?
I think
Oh,
so.
interesting.
I watched it when it came out, so this is my first impression.
Right, it's set when I started in Oxford. It's set in 2006, and I remember being slightly offended that it was being portrayed as if this was ancient history. But anyway, let's take a look and see what you think. So he's going to a fancy dinner, and...
So how are you finding Oxford?
Then it's a tutorial.
Good. Yeah, good. Well, thanks. Did you come far from home?
So, just quick reaction, tutor's office, do they look like that?
Not my tutor's
okay, good. Very
I think
tidy.
he's a bit more organised than that. It's very dark and dusty.
It is, yeah, there's lots of mood to it. I think one thing that is instantly quite accurate about this is that it's a tutor and a student. These are Oxford tutorials. They tend to be very small groups. Have you ever been taught one-on-one?
Not intentionally.
No.
Unless my tutor partner hasn't turned up, but that usually hasn't happened.
No, so it's relatively unusual these days. You tend to have at least one tute partner, and this person is supposed to have a tute partner, but they're just running a bit late. But you can be taught one-on-one, especially for something like English literature. And that is, I suppose, the special source of an Oxford education is being taught in those tiny groups. So that in that sense, this is so far pretty accurate.
Prescott.
Yeah, where?
Yeah, Prescott. Merseyside.
Oh, never been. Never been.
So the general point of this element of the scene is that we've got a young man who comes from the northwest of England, and they're kind of making a bit of a sense of that being terribly unusual, right? I mean, I think it is fair to say that people from the northwest of England are underrepresented for a number of reasons, but the idea that the tutor would sort of say...
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I never heard of it, not interested, disdainful.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy, right?
No.
And we are trying very hard to encourage more students from all over the country to apply. I think one of the issues with places like Merseyside is not necessarily that we're not attracting the students, it's that they've got loads of great universities so nearby, like Manchester and Liverpool, that many are choosing not to come to Oxford, but we certainly do want those students.
Prescott. So how did you get on with the summer reading list?
Yeah. Okay, I think I read it all.
What, all of it?
Mm-hmm.
50 books on there, you mad?
I thought it was supposed to.
King James Bible is on there. Telling me you spent your whole summer reading the Bible. Reading list is optional. I've not read half the books on there.
Sorry.
So, did you get a reading list before you came?
Yeah, I did, and I was stressed about it. It
Yeah.
was pretty short, but I was messaging my college parents, being like, I haven't read I haven't read all the books on the reading list. It's gonna be okay. And she was like, yeah, don't worry about it.
So your college parents being someone in the year above
so like
who
kind
does
of
the
my
same
mentor
course.
in the year above that was assigned to me before I got here.
But for things like English literature, again, it's not actually unusual at all. This is really accurate to get a reading list that includes the Bible and the Aeneid and the Iliad and the Odyssey, like all sorts of incredibly long books. But the tutor is exactly bang on right. We don't expect you to read all of them cover to cover. The student shouldn't be apologetic. It's kind of badass that he's read all of them.
Yeah. But also I thought, not that relevant, but I saw like theories online, which is because he's like faking it the whole time. He didn't actually
that
read
he
all of it,
can't have done it.
which is more realistic, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree actually, because the idea that you could have read all of those books is crazy.
Well, also he kind of does seem like he doesn't have a life really, so he could have.
It's very, well, true. It's very honest of the tutor to say, I haven't even read all of these.
That's quite realistic, to be fair.
I think that is pretty realistic. Because, you know, we obviously have these enormous reading lists. Like one of the reading lists from one of my courses, the reading list is 100 pages long for an 8-week course. And I have read the sources, but not all cover to cover. And pretending otherwise would be just misleading. So anyway, in that sense, it's pretty accurate.
Any idea where he's got to? He's 20 minutes late now. Right, well, I suppose we better make a start then.
I'm so sorry. Sorry I'm late. Sorry I'm late. I'm so sorry. Got completely lost. Nice to meet you. I'm sorry.
Farley start, I take it.
So, ever been late to a tutorial?
Definitely.
Okay. It's
Not that late.
not that. I was going to say, I would not wait 20 minutes to start a tutorial.
no.
I would wait like 2 minutes and I would
Yeah.
just get cracking. It does happen. It's relatively unusual. You have to attend tutorials. You can miss lectures at Oxford, but I mean, as you can tell, it's immediately obvious if someone skips a tutorial or
That
is
just
very late.
disrupts the because it's supposed to be a kind of like three-way discussion. It kind of disrupts the dynamic, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, getting lost in your first few days, weeks is not unrealistic.
But 20 minutes late.
20
I think-
minutes
and
is not
I think
great.
it's supposed to be Brasenose.
It is Brasenose, yeah, which is another college just around the corner from us. So yeah, that would be pretty awkward.
Nice of you to join us, finally. You're not a relation of Frederica Stark by any chance?
She's my mother.
No. I knew her when I was your age, when we were both here. When she was Frederica Catton before she went to America.
No way. Oh my God. I'll tell her. Now she's going to be thrilled that I'm being tutored by one of her friends.
Oh, no, not friend. More admirer. Yeah, from afar. Not sure we ever spoke. No, don't even mention me.
So,
I think that happens a lot. The tutors will be like, oh, I know your dad, I know your mum.
yeah, that sort of legacy idea of this sort of lineage of people who've attended Oxford, I've never, okay, I may not have been here long enough, but
I've heard like of one or two students that be like, oh, my dad attended like Balliol, so I want to go to Balliol. That's why I'm at Balliol. I don't think it extends to that kind of.
it absolutely does not help anyone get in, I think it's worth stressing. It's therefore slightly different to some American universities where having a legacy connection can be of assistance, but at Oxford it just wouldn't make any difference.
There's
No one can pull strings or anything.
No one can pull strings.
Yeah, so
Shall we start?
now he's saying, shall we start? Like he's running the tutorial. Outrageous.
Outrageous gallop of lines. And thus, the shape of the verse, he said, like Browning's last touches, should look as if it were alive.
Okay. Yeah. Very good.
Just really quickly, what's obviously happened there is that the student has just read his essay, and that is how tutorials used to run in Oxford. But this is set in 2006, and I'm pretty sure that practice had basically died out at that stage. There were still a few people doing it, but nowadays the idea that you turn up at a tutorial with your essay handwritten, you read it out, and then the tutor reacts, that's pretty much dead
To
now.
be fair, I've heard of, no, I think, yeah, you're right. But I know my friend's tutorial, they have to take turns in reading their essay.
Oh, did it?
But
Okay.
it's pre-marked, I'm pretty sure. But
Right.
Yeah.
It's relatively rare nowadays. Typically a tutorial will engage with the
It's
the
just
work
a bit
you've
of a
done.
waste of time to spend time reading stuff that's already been read or listened to by everyone else.
Exactly. And you can tell the tutor there is getting pretty bored just listening to something that he's probably quite familiar with already. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of food for thought there. Intriguing.
Thus. Sorry, just us. Just a funny word.
Why?
I don't know. I don't think we really use it in real life, do we? It's just kind of verbose, don't you think?
No, not really.
No. No, you don't. You used it sometimes.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. I counted.
He's got you there, I'm afraid, Oliver.
So you're picking apart the style when you say instead of the substance. That's kind of
Kind of what?
lazy.
It's completely valid to debate the rhetoric of an argument. It's not what you argue, but how.
Great point.
Yeah, especially if you haven't actually read the poems. Look forward to hearing your essay.
So what about this sort of antagonism between the students?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very valid that in a tutorial kind of, maybe my tutor would be like, oh, so what's one argument that you have criticism about? And it'd be very, not be very friendly, not quite as antagonistic as this.
This is becoming personal, isn't it? And I think that would be unusual. Also, the tutor is obviously taking sides. I mean, hopefully you've never seen that.
No.
Or at least not, I mean, they might sort of support an intellectual point, but they wouldn't sort of say, oh, well done, and sort of, fawningly congratulate one student and deprecate
What do
the
you think
other.
about the thus?
I mean, that's such a minor, I mean, he's saying that it's a rhetorical flaw. I wouldn't really care. I suppose if some sort of parts of speech, some stylistic crutches are overused, it can detract from the case, and so you might encourage a student to just be more self-reflective of that, but I wouldn't shame them into never saying thus, for example. It's a bit archaic to say thus quite a lot as well, I suppose. Anyway, not necessarily very realistic here.
Welcome.
So what have we got now? What's this?
So this is My Oxford Year, which is again, it's quite recently released, I think it's 2026.
Yeah.
And it's basically about this young woman who's doing her masters at Oxford, and then
Okay, and it looks like we've got matriculation.
Oxford, an institution which has been here for hundreds of years, and which in each and every one of those years has welcomed a new group of young people. Great leaders, great scientific minds, literary visionaries have all passed through these doors before you. You will forget parties you attended here, and you will forget friends you made here, but you will never forget the learning and the studying you did here.
Okay, so...
I'm not sure that's the exact speech the
No,
chancellor
it seems quite nice, doesn't it? There's a lot more Latin by my recollection. So this is an example of matriculation, which is the ceremony at the start of Oxford, and that's pretty accurate, isn't it? To be fair.
I mean, it's laid out exactly how it was for me.
Yeah.
But it was. I think she did speak to us a little bit in English. I think it is mainly a tradition for the sake of tradition rather than inspiring you.
No, exactly.
At the beginning of your journey.
They're portraying it a bit like the sort of speech you might get at graduation, where it's all like go out into the world and be your best or whatever. That's not that typical of matriculation.
But like the outfit's very accurate.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is called subfusk, and it is accurate. Strictly speaking, historically, men are supposed to wear white bow ties. So you can see the young man there is wearing a black bow tie, but it's becoming increasingly common.
It's a choice. But I think the white ones look better.
Yeah, it's becoming more common, but I mean, that's being very pernickety. But yeah, I mean, it's in the Sheldonian Theatre. It's even in the right place in Oxford. So this is pretty spot on so far. Let's see if My Oxford Year sustains its realism.
Your time here is precious. It will disappear in a blink.
Well, that's
Seize
true.
it.
This is Magdalen College. It's very majestic music.
It's a great room.
So very grand room, and she's still wearing subfusk.
Yeah, why is she? Do tutorials happen on the same day as matriculation?
Not
don't think
usually. No, matriculation's usually on a Saturday. So I don't think many people would have tutorials straight afterwards.
Wow, she just really wanted to
Just dive straight in.
take that off and then put it back on the next morning.
I think what the other students are wearing is pretty much spot on. In other words, students just dress casually for tutorials and seminars. These sorts of seminars are actually quite rare, but she's a master's student, so in that sense, maybe not so unusual. I mean, what do we mean by seminar? Do you have a seminar?
We have, so for like some modules in management, we go to the business school and you have maybe one or two other colleges along with my own college, and then we have a little class. So it's about like 10 people, so I guess it's more accurate to this, but it's less common, I think.
Have you ever been taught in a wood-panelled room like that?
No,
like
I haven't,
this?
unfortunately. I wish. It's just the cold, bare wall of the business school.
It can happen though. So that in that sense, it's not at all unusual. Some Oxford tutorial and seminar rooms are pretty grand. This is in Magdalen College.
Time? Oh, right. Yeah, I was just like, I was at the thing with the.
I'm Maggie Timms.
Hi, I'm Anna de la Vega.
Hello.
Oh my God, it's Professor Stein. She's my hero. She's the reason I came here
terrible news, I'm afraid. I've just been named head of graduate studies, which means I'm far too important to be teaching you lot, this term at least. My cover is more than able. In fact, he's my annoyingly brilliant DPhil student. I'll do the marking, he'll do the teaching. Best of both worlds for me. It's not exploiting youth labour. He actually wants to teach. His lookout. So, yeah, I guess I'll see you around, guys. Over to you, Jamie.
Thank you.
So she's saying quite a bit out loud there that I'm too important to teach you. I think some professors might think that, but would almost never say it. I hope you've never heard any sentiment like that. What about being taught by it? So a DPhil is the correct term for someone who's doing a PhD in Oxford. It's called a DPhil for some reason. Being taught by DPhils is not unusual.
No, I think I've heard of it. Yeah, definitely. Especially my friend who does chemistry. And my tutor right now was a DPhil last year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I started teaching as a DPhil, so it's not particularly unusual. The idea that that DPhil student would be overseen by the senior professor is kind of inaccurate. If you are teaching, you're teaching under your own merits because you've been trained. So you would have lines of accountability, but it wouldn't be that you would do the teaching, someone else would do the marking. That's not accurate at all. Anyway, let's see what he's got.
Hello.
Oh my God, you've got to be kidding me.
Okay, now that is a serious bit of content.
So, as this is my first class,
Okay.
I thought that I would set the tone by offering you a bribe.
Yikes. So bribes, I mean obviously not a literal bribe, but cake in a class?
I haven't had cake in class. I've had chocolate in a class.
Oh, have you? Oh, right. I feel really stingy now. I've never given my students any sort of...
Nothing as grand as that. It's quite extra, I think.
I guess when I started at Oxford, I always thought that we would be given wine or sherry or something mad in classes. And I was very glad that wasn't the case, that it's very professional and just normal. And so no one's going to become rocking with a massive Victoria sandwich.
This kind of reminds me of sixth form. Well, I didn't personally, but my brother with the older years, they would have a cake rota for the...
What?
For classes. They got rid of it, I think, because it's a...
Oh, that's a shame.
I guess it's a safeguarding issue with allergies and stuff. But I think it was there was a rota and everyone would bring a cake every week.
Well, I mean, I knew of a tutor that would bring a very large cup of tea that he brewed in a flower pot. But that was just for himself. And I think he was trying to be a bit edgy and eccentric. But otherwise, it's pretty rare to be offered anything to eat or drink in an Oxford lesson.
A massive cake. Help yourselves.
Help yourselves. Okay.
I'm about to introduce you to a true Oxford institution.
Okay. Kebab.
Is that an elephant's leg?
Here you go.
Thank you.
Nice.
Trust me.
That's the most awkward way to eat a kebab.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good.
My friend. Cheers, Nishi. Oh.
Okay, so there's quite a lot to unpack there. What is this Oxford institution he speaks of?
So, dotted all around the city, in the centre of the city, you've got about 6 kebab vans, all under the name of someone. So there's Nadia's, Hassan's, and they're kind of they're open very late. So they're kind of the thing that students go to, maybe post night out, or if it's too late to go out for food. Very greasy, very. I don't know, but it's definitely it's very popular.
Yeah, and that particular one is Hassan's, is that right?
Yeah, so I think I read an article which was it's one of my favourites. It's Hassan's, the actual van that they use, but they papered over it with a different name.
Shame.
And then, but the guy who's acting as the person who owns, I guess, Dimitri, was coached by the one and only Hassan. So
you would have thought they could just get Hassan to do it.
Exactly.
He's such a legend.
You know
He's been doing it since I started in Oxford, so he's an absolute institution, not just his kebab.
I'm pretty sure it's like a family thing now because his sons work there as well.
Oh, no, how amazing. It gets better. What about, so obviously we've got a blossoming relationship between tutor and student. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Okay, good. We're specifically trained, believe it or not to fraternise with our students.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah, it's taken very seriously.
I think it's the power dynamic as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it used to happen, and it wasn't frowned upon historically, but obviously times have changed and standards have moved on, and so now it's a big no.
I guess they tried the author or whatever tried to make it as okay as possible. But it's a DPhil student, it's a master's student.
Yeah, right.
She's only here for a year. He's only here for whatever.
Yeah.
And I think the premise, not to spoiler alert or anything, but he like dies later. So I don't think it's supposed to be a long-term thing.
It definitely softens the blow, I'm sure, but it's the idea of having a sort of ancient professor and a new undergraduate would be pretty icky, wouldn't it? So we are sort of very strongly discouraged from doing that sort of thing.
Okay, your turn.
Right. The master at work.
Oh, his sans is in the wrong place.
Yeah, it's in the wrong place. It's right outside the chalet. Yeah,
That's a
not
shame.
accurate.
That's a shame.
I wonder why they didn't just put it outside.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. So what have we got here?
This is Your Fault London, which I haven't personally watched, but it's very, very popular.
Your Fault.
It's like there's a Spanish like film series called like My Fault, Your Fault, and then they did a British version of it. So I guess they really tried to insert the Britishness in with, Oxford. So I think the girl, the main character, is studying at Oxford, and this is kind of move-in day, which is fun.
Move-in day at Oxford. Okay, well they're showing all the nice scenes. It's looking pretty. City. Yeah, it's Radcliffe Square. Now we've got Brasenose again. So Brasenose was in Saltburn.
I think it's just such a pop. I don't know why it's so popular with.
It's right next to the Radcliffe camera, so it all looks. It's very Oxford.
Well, we're just around the corner.
Yeah.
Securely delivered.
Right.
She drives like a dream.
Did she?
You wanted to give the chauffeur the day off, did you?
Yeah, well, Noah has a lot of stuff, so we could use the muscle power.
So hang on, he's driving to Oxford in his own car? Is that common?
No.
And he's obviously filthy rich. I mean, I suppose this sort of taps into.
I think he's helping her move in, but he's not.
Okay.
But I don't know why he drove there by himself with stuff.
Yeah, it's basically pointless bringing your own car to Oxford, isn't it? Because it's a nightmare to drive around.
I remember the guidelines like don't bring your own car.
Yeah.
Just don't, because there's nowhere. Also, the zero. I think they are like the council is kind of going back on that. But there was a zero emissions zone around this bit for a while.
So he'd get a big ticket for his fancy car.
I don't think you're allowed to park cars around the Radcam anyway, right?
I think the students at Brasenose are allowed to sort of drop stuff off, but I don't think they can just stick there for the whole day or anything. No, I suppose the wider point about people being terribly well off at Oxford is kind of a well-known trope, right? Is that everyone here is very rich. Do you think that bears out?
No, I think there are people who are very wealthy.
Sure.
But I would say that's in the minority.
Yeah. Because that's what you tend to get this impression that Oxford is just full of very wealthy people going to fancy parties.
And they're very obviously wealthy.
Yeah, right. And rubbing everyone's face in it.
Yeah.
Right. But that's just not. No. That's not been my experience. Thank goodness. As you say, I mean, with 26,000 people, there are going to be some people that are well off, but the idea that they are the overwhelming majority is just unrealistic.
Oh my god.
So that is Brasenose, first quad.
Very
Very pretty. Yeah. That's the deer park at Brasenose, so it's all accurate. There's no continuity errors.
Special drinks in the JCR tonight. See you there.
Sounds good. Thanks.
You can bring your sister if you like.
Okay, so drinks in the JCR, that sounds like a sort of Freshers Week thing.
Yep, sounds pretty accurate.
That's
JCR is like, it's the undergrad student body, but it's also a room, just like your common room.
Yeah, literally junior common room, right?
Yeah.
So you just go and hang out. So drinks in Freshers Week is pretty normal, although there's lots of events on, right? So if people aren't into drinking, there's lots of stuff they can do as well, right?
Definitely. It's something for everyone.
I think that's a sort of common misconception about university more generally in the UK, is that it's all fueled by alcohol. And
if you don't drink, then you're going to be alienated.
You're a pariah, which is thankfully not true. Okay, what's our next film?
I think this is the last one. It's Maxton Hall, which is a German...
Maxton Hall, okay.
It's a German... I haven't watched it, but I know it's a German show about a guy... Well, I think it's mainly about... There's only one episode where Oxford's shown, but it's about how these two people who want to go to Oxford. So, and this bit is specifically like the interviews and going to Oxford. But it's also just... It's very badly dubbed, but we'll see what happens.
All right, interesting. I'm glad my Gemma's not great.
For those I haven't met yet, I am Jude. I'm a second year in St Hilda's College here at Oxford, and I'll accompany you through the entire application process.
St Hilda's is a college?
Interview, all the professors want to test your critical thinking and see how well you can develop a position on a topic. In the second one, they want to see how you work under stress and if you crumble. Then, in the third and final interview, it's all about you, to see if you really fit in here at Oxford.
Okay, so he was doing so well when he said that the first interview is about testing your critical thinking. That's pretty much spot on. For any interview, you'll be given some ideas and asked to evaluate them critically. And it doesn't particularly matter whether that's a mathematical proof or a bit of chemistry or some English literature. And then it all goes downhill. What went wrong there?
My interviews were never, they weren't in person because the past couple of years and going forward they won't be in person.
No.
And I didn't have 3 separate ones for different disciplines. I kind of was just based on subjects, I don't think. Also, I don't know what he means by how you'd fit. Is that like in terms of like socially, like activities? They don't, not to be crap, they don't care really. The interviewers don't care if you're going to fit in socially. That's kind of your issue and your own time.
Exactly.
They just want to see. I thought it might have meant like if you do well in tutorial setting, but I feel like that's the rest of the interviews we do.
Yeah, right. I mean, so maybe because we do look for what's known as teachability, which is how well you would deal with the Oxford tutorial system. But absolutely, we are not under any circumstances testing whether someone's socially going to fit in.
Do you add anything to college?
No. Oh my goodness. And the idea that we would test their stress responses? What is that all about?
See if you crumble.
See if you crumble? My goodness, no.
I guess like you could. Lots of people try and infer that because they do push you to a certain extent.
Yeah, but we're not like deliberately putting you in some stress position. And
like I remember in my interview at one point, I remember they'd asked me a question, and I didn't know where to start. And then, like, after 2 minutes, I genuinely was just like, I'm sorry, I don't know where to start. Yeah. And they were just like, oh, it's fine. Like, and they sent me a little thing in the chat. They was like, just start by using this. And it was like, they're not going to sit there and watch you kind of.
They didn't wait to see you crumble.
And spiral. They don't want to see that.
No, of course not. It's not helpful. Like, we need data on someone's, academic potential, and stressing them out until they break is not helpful. So it's just not going to happen. And yes, to test whether someone fits in.
Out of all 3, this is the big one.
No, it's not. Nonsense. You don't even have 3 interviews usually.
No.
Miss Bell, so glad you accepted our invitation.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Super. Then let's carry on. For a couple of years now, the New York Times has published an opinion piece which claimed that the British monarchy was a wasteful anachronism. Can our system exist in its duality? Can the monarchy and parliamentary democracy continue side by side? Or do you think we should become a republic?
I believe the question can be approached from either side. On the one hand, one could argue that the monarchy offers stability, at least symbolically. On the other hand, the amount of money spent financing this individual institution must be called into question. And bearing in mind that other countries worldwide are clearly striving without it.
Like Germany.
Please do carry on.
So, what do you think of this?
I think the show itself, they could tell they tried to make it sound as complex as in like they tried to make it sound quite a daunting question, and the whole setup is quite like they're higher than her, about 3 meters away from her.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
I don't think that's quite.
No, this is all part of the stress.
Yeah.
Gauging their stress response.
No, I think they want to make it as like the Saltburn tutorial, they want to kind of imitate that as much as possible.
Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be like a tutorial, and this is not particularly accurate. I mean, the question in itself...
It's an interesting question.
It is an interesting question. It's sort of predicated off a New York Times opinion piece. We would never expect you to know what the New York Times thinks about the British monarchy. So we're not likely to test your knowledge. It's not, I suppose, unfeasible that you might be asked about, things like the role of the monarchy. It's pretty unlikely.
I don't know what subject I should.
I mean, it would maybe something like politics or law, but even then, it's such a sort of well-trodden debate. I don't think you would actually gauge much about someone's abilities.
I think they really tried to steer away from stuff that's been might have talked about. They want to approach you with something new.
Exactly. This is the sort of thing you would do in like sixth form debate competition. It's not
brutal.
Well, I mean, I'm afraid it is. We would do something more random just to see how they deal with unfamiliar topics, but not so random that you wouldn't have a way in. You would just be completely lost. But just something, for example, I did stuff I interview about trust in elections. And that's not a fairly standard thing you talk about, but I'm not assuming anyone knows about it. Do you know what I mean? Also, what about her answer? What do you make of that?
I think the way she approached it with, I think you could put this 2 ways. That's quite a good way to look at it.
It's very slick and polished.
Yeah, but I also think she took about 1 second to think about it, and then she came out with answer like that.
That's not accurate.
I mean, some people especially sometimes I'm like, I've got to answer immediately.
Yeah.
But if you answer immediately, your answer isn't going to be great. So I feel like because you want it to sound like a normal conversation when you're in a tutorial setting. The interview setting, you might be push yourself to answer as quickly as possible, but because it's awkward just sitting there for a couple of seconds thinking, and just they're just watching you expectantly, and then you'll come up with the best answer if you give yourself time to think, and they're not in a rush. They know that you need time to think. So
I think if I was asking a question and I use the word duality, I would probably expect a student to say, "What do you mean by duality?" I think to be fair to the interviewer, they do then explain that it's having two systems side by side. The student's answer is polished, but it is the most fence city answer you can possibly imagine. It's right to say you can see it from multiple perspectives, but that is perfectly unhelpful. Yeah. That's a bit like asking a question, what do you want to have for lunch, Italian or Chinese food? And you say, Italian food has these advantages, Chinese food has these advantages, and then at the end we're none the wiser.
And I feel like at A level you're very much taught to answer like that. You present both sides of the argument to be balanced, and then you do you're like, both could be good. I think it's good to have both, but you're very much more pressed to make your own. An essay is structured very, very differently here because you're kind of you state your opinion or what you're going to write the essay on, and then your essay is centered around that rather than centered around considering other options and then considering that option, and I pick this one. Which that was something that I had to adjust to when I was coming here, and I think they're looking for your own opinion. And
exactly.
That makes you stand out. Right?
So if someone started an interview with me like this, that would be fine. I wouldn't sort of say, right, go on, like a big cross through their application or anything silly. But I would push them to be more resolute and more argumentative. I would say, okay, that's an interesting way of framing the debate, but basically pick a side and tell me what you're going to do with it. And then once they'd picked a side, I would probably throw a few spanners in the works, but not to try and stress them out or see if they fit in, but just to sort of have a debate about it, right? But so this is fine, but leaves a lot left.
The market is based on speculation, on the fact that the future is not very reliable, as we know. We wish it were. So profit is generated in the here and now, and a business with a successful model makes use of this to improve turnover.
Thank you, Mr. Beaufort. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Okay, just stop right there. So, first of all, suit, tie, slick, expensive haircut, any of this stuff necessary for an Oxford interview?
Nope.
Absolutely not. You dress what you like, dress comfortable, we'll be fine. Again, we've got this, I knew your father, and he was great as well. Nonsense. No one cares.
No one cares. The tutors don't care, do you think?
No. He's very confident. I mean, how much do you think the interview process is looking for self-assuredness and self-possession?
I think some kind of confidence in your, being able to, confidence that comes from knowledge, or that you have knowledge about your subject. But I think when it gets to a point, not that I'm saying this guy has don't want to assume, but I'm telling you this rather than I want to have a discussion about this.
Right.
It's just, I think it's about attitude rather than confidence. I don't know, but you know.
Yeah, it's a subtle point, but we do look for you to be argumentative, and so that requires some level of confidence. In other words, you have to say, I think we should become a republic, I think we should stay as a monarchy, I think we should have Italian food, I think we should have Chinese food. You need to have at least some sort of resolution to your answers. But that doesn't mean that you have to be, you know, entirely comfortable in your own skin. We have lots of students who are neurodiverse or have anxiety disorders, and they wouldn't necessarily just breezily tell a tutor the way the markets are right now. You know, that is kind of unrealistic. And I think sometimes people worry that basically the Oxford interview process is a proxy for a confidence trick.
I think they think of the interview as being more akin to a job interview, and
right.
it's completely different.
Yes.
It's just not.
To the extent that the term interview is kind of misleading, isn't it? It's more, as you mentioned earlier, like a mock tutorial rather than a job interview.
Yeah.
Let's see what else he's got to say about his dad.
Top of his class at Balliol.
Balliol, thanks very much.
His knowledge and ambition.
Oh.
So mispronounced the college name. I guess that's not the end of the world. But that sort of sense again of, I knew your father. Would never say anything like that. Outrageous.
He was light years ahead of everyone with knowledge and ambition.
So just to sort of sum up, what are your general sense of when you see Oxford in films and TV, what do you think is often the filmmaker's intent of communicating?
I think they don't approach it with like, oh, I really want it accurate. I think they just I mean, maybe my Oxford year, because I think the matriculation scene, the kebab scene, I think is someone who very much has insider knowledge about. But I think it's just, Oxford has this reputation. I want to kind of, people are posh, everyone's family, like there's a lineage. I guess it depends on the year, but this is very much set in the modern times, and that's still happening, which doesn't happen. And like, I don't know,
Yeah, because Oxford is just a modern university, and so portraying it like that would be a bit anemic, wouldn't it? It would be a bit boring, and I can understand why people want to tap into some of the mystique and the majesty of how Oxford was.
I think the amount
I
was thinking this while I think it was. I don't remember what the name is. Your Fault London. The amount of drone shots that the rad cameras get, just so many. I think they just want they want the good. They want the shot. They want the
pretty buildings.
Yeah.
Which is a thing. Yeah, it does all exist.
Just stop going to Braithwaite, come to Jesus.
Yes, exactly. That's a good lesson to learn from these films and video. And I know. Do you think that it benefits us as a university? Because Oxford is much more likely to be in films than pretty much any other British university, and it does have this sort of aura about it. But I don't know if that helps.
I think from this, it's probably doesn't, in terms of if you're trying to get the best kind of applicants.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if I was from the north, and then I didn't have any family, and none of my family went to university,
right?
So it'd be just quite intimidating.
Yeah, right.
And then I guess the kind of intimateness, or the kind of the Saltburn tutorial, I guess the setup was right, but again, I don't think the discussion in any of the is an accurate representation. It just kind of put me off. I'd be like, I don't want to talk about that.
No,
it's
exactly.
not very interesting. I could do better, way better elsewhere. And
it's tapping into that sense of Oxford as this sort of aloof, cliched sort of place on a pedestal somewhere that you have to, sharpen your elbows in order to attain, and that you'll have a terrible time when you get there. But at least you'll be in Oxford or something. And I can see why filmmakers want to portray that, and I guess for some people that is attractive. Certainly the drone shots probably make it attractive. But the ideology swirling around these depictions of Oxford is toxic, and I agree with you, I don't think it helps, and it misleads people as to what's expected of them. So keep watching our videos where we will not mislead you about what Oxford is looking for. But yeah, thank you, Sharon, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I'll bring a cake next time.